All right, it's showing we are being added again. Wretched, you there?
Yes, it appears I am finally here.
Yeah. I apologize for all our technical difficulties.
No issues whatsoever. It's just time for me to rise up out of my crypt and begin my day. Or night, as it were.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why we scheduled it at this time. We wanted to make sure you were awake for it, because if I'd said 5 o'clock, maybe you wouldn't have been. You'd be like, "What? What's that?"
I don't even know what a 5 o'clock is.
I wish I could say that some days. Well, welcome to Radio Oz.
Well, thank you for having me.
I've been looking forward to this for a good long while, and I know now you guys are celebrating 20 years of blood, sweat, and fears. Wow,
Indeed. Yes,
that makes
sir.
that makes me feel old when I say that. I can only imagine that's young for you.
Well, yeah, 20 years have just flown by. They say time flies when you're having fun, and we've, since the first day, it's been a complete joy to do what we do.
So what brought you to bring forth talking about the Reanimator and explain who the Reanimator is to the folks that don't know or understand the concept, if you will.
Yeah, that's very simple. The reanimator is the only one who could give sight to the blind. He is the only one who could walk on water, the only one who could raise the dead, the only one in human history to raise himself from the dead. So your question is, why would we talk about that? I don't know why we wouldn't talk about that. He has
Good
literally
point.
rescued us from the grave. He is the grave robber.
Good point. Good, valid. The valid point. Valid point. So, 20 years. That's for a lot of bands. That's a long time to be performing anymore. But we do have both bands that have played longer, yes, but not. I mean, we've seen bands, especially in the Christian music scene. We've seen so many bands come and go and be fly by night, per se. Not to use the wrong words. I mean, you do work in the evenings and the night, but how has Grave Robbers survived for 20 years
Well,
in doing what you do?
I think a lot of it is just a passion for what the band does. And I mean, it hasn't been without sacrifice, it hasn't been without scars. And, we've taken our licks from, the years and certain people that don't appreciate what we do or whatever, but that's never really been anything that would stop us. But I think the main thing that just keeps us going is knowing that the message of truth, the message of peace, the message of love, the message of being rescued from the grave by the shed blood of an innocent, the only one who was innocent, keeps us going. We've had multiple guitar players, multiple drummers, a handful of bass players. So far, I've been the only voice of the band for 20 years. But to be honest with you, I didn't expect it. I expected a good, 6 months, and then we'd be done with. But it just kept going and growing and growing. And 20 years is a long time to be very unsuccessful. We certainly have not added on to any of our homes, or no one in the band is driving sports cars, and we don't have large bank accounts.
Right,
But,
right,
but the passion to meet people right where they are and to tell them that there truly is good news and that the grave is not the end. That has kept us going, regardless of our detractors, regardless of trends, or, it's whatever's popular this month. It's emo, then it's metalcore, then it's whatever. We just do what we do. And if people like it, that's good. If they don't like it, there are other options.
right. I mean, in my time, and I was just speaking of you guys this past weekend, and I was talking to a lady that was in her mid to late 60s, and her son had took her to see Grave Robber, and she became a fan. And then I see the teenagers look at you guys and go, "Wow, that's cool." It shows, and it's like, okay, that's interesting in its own way because of the age gamut there. You got grandma, you got grandkids, and then you got me stuck in the middle there. But there's still that still says something about what you're doing, in my opinion.
Well, I think a lot of times it's very surprising that some older folks actually understand what we're doing and why we do it. And it's very surprising the people who get it, equally surprising the people that don't get it. Sometimes youth group kids can be the harshest critics, and which I find kind of odd, but that's okay. Again, we never set out to be a flavor that's for everyone. We set out to be a very specific thing, and it's a small pond of people that appreciate what we do, but we're very thankful for every single one of them.
Right, right. So going back, I mean, your crowd, it is interesting. It's following you, and I've followed you pretty much that entire 20 years, and I'd say probably 15 to 18 of those years. And I've seen over the years you've played horror conventions alongside first Jason and some of the other bigger horror punk bands. And how does that crowd accept you?
Well, I think some people, I think there is a one one comparison to Striper. There's a massive difference in that they are hugely successful and have millions and millions of fans. We have dozens of fans.
Right,
But the one thing we have in common is that we often get judged prior to hitting our first note. And so there are people who dearly love what we sound like that have an idea of what the band is going to be before they even hear us. And so, you know, there are other people who don't care about what we're singing about. They just love the music. And then there are people that appreciate both. Then there's a fourth group of people who, uh, I guess, know exactly what we're singing about. And they think it's cool, but they're not necessarily in agreement. But they agree that we should be able to voice what we want to talk about in our songs. So, really, to answer the question, how does the horror punk scene at large view Grave Robber? Well, some people like it, some people don't. I know that's a very simple answer, but that's the most honest answer. But I think music in general is some people like it, some people don't. So I'm sure that you and I both have artists that other people really, really like. And I just don't understand why they like that because I don't like that. It's music is so subjective and lyrics can be subjective as well. I think that we try to write our lyrics in a way that is just very thinly veiled, where the message is clear but not real obvious, and we try really hard not to be hokey or passe or cliche, but at the same time entertaining. So sometimes people think our lyrics are funny. Other times people think our lyrics are scary. But I think some of the best horror movies had elements of comedic value in it. So we try to incorporate that into the songs as well. But overall, I don't think most horror fans really have an issue with this once they give it a chance.
That's admirable. I mean, we all got to witness in a different way. We've all learned in our relationships with Christ and such, and the reanimator, as you say, that we're not going to reach the lost without some kind of form of witness that they see on a daily basis. Be it, even if it is in a different, for different way than the church would say. You're not going to reach the sinner all the time in the church, in my opinion. You're going to reach them out where they are.
I would
That's like in the
I
shows
would
you
also
do.
Yes, I would also argue that maybe the guy in the three-piece suit with his suit and tie and his sports car, and he works at a very high-paying job on the 14th floor. He can reach people that I can't reach as well. So it's knowing who you are and what your identity is in the reanimator. It's all about identity. And some people might see this gorgeous face of mine and think to themselves that that's the face of death. I'm not. I'm the face of someone coming back from death. You should have seen what I looked like before this.
Well, that probably was a scary sight, but that's not for me to decide since I didn't know you at that time.
Yes, this is not death. This is coming back to life. This is being alive, living, breathing, walking, talking, witness. But just
Right,
because I have this face doesn't mean that's all there is to the witness. The witness
right.
is not something I do. The witness is something I am.
Very good, very good. So, going back to you were saying some people don't understand you. We've seen recently, if people have been paying attention to the Grave Robber fan page, that you can there has been a someone out there. I can't remember who the group was, but they were trying to say that hey, Grave Robber is satanic, and I'm like, and I sat there and laughed and laughed and laughed, and I'm like, if you only knew what these gentlemen ghouls are doing and understood it, you would be thinking that. They didn't even look at the band as a whole. They just looked at you. It's like, oh no, they're not no good. What do you say to that person?
Well, I also think that the reanimator was very misunderstood. I mean, he told them that they needed to eat his flesh. I mean, somebody could say that was satanic. He even appeared to derive power from Beelzebub, and they accused him of that. We don't derive any power from dark forces. What power could we possibly get from dark forces? What what creative influence could there be? I think that's utterly preposterous. And then people say, well, you look demonic. To which I say, what does demonic look like? And I want to know, biblically speaking, what does demonic look like? Not what Hollywood tells you that demonic looks like. That's easy. You could argue, ooh, skulls, blood. But that's not what demonic looks like. You see, I grew up reading Fangoria magazine, and there were bloody monsters on every cover of every issue. And I would stand there in the magazine store, and I would see the bloody monster. And then, oh, just a little bit down the way, there was Sports Illustrated with the swimsuit issue. And let me tell you, Mike Grimes, not one time did a bloody monster ever cause your buddy Wretched to think impure thoughts. But there was that swimsuit issue right down the way. Now, if you put those side by side, don't answer this question. I'm not trying to incriminate you. This is a rhetorical question. But which one of them is going to make you think impure thoughts? A bloody monster or the swimsuit issue of Sports Illustrated? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. It makes sense.
That,
Makes logical
that is
sense.
that
But
is
it, like,
presented as beauty. It's, oh, look at this lovely little lady wearing her little bathing suit on the beach. Now, I'm sure she's a wonderful person. I don't have any reason to think that she's trying to create some sort of evil. What I'm saying is that the way something physically appears isn't how you judge evil. And people will say, well, hey, we're supposed to avoid the appearance of evil. Well, hold on a second. That is probably one of the most misquoted pieces of scripture in the entire book. The appearance of evil, what that means is the occasion or type of evil, like a Bigfoot appearance, the appearance of your favorite star, the appearance of your favorite sports figure. He's appearing somewhere. Avoid evil things and types of evil. And then you have to read elsewhere to know what that is. But if all you've done is look at that one verse to say, oh, something that looks scary must be evil, well, I disagree with that. There's all kinds of things that look scary that are not evil. And the way something looks doesn't determine that. Have you ever seen somebody who was in a fire, whose face was all burnt up? They look kind of scary. But what's in their heart? Who are they really? Who is that person? You see, if you look at my face and my face scares you, and you avoid my appearance, the way I look, and you don't know what's in my heart, you don't get to judge me based on what my face looks like. See, the problem is the same people that will tell you not to judge an African American face, or an Asian face, or a Hispanic face, will tell you that, oh, you get to judge Wretched because of his face. Do you see how wrong that is? Do you see how messed up that is? But that's the culture we live in, a culture that looks at things on the surface, and we don't dig deeper. In fact, I would say if you're only scratching the surface of Scripture itself, you're missing out on everything.
uh, very good, very good. I can see that very well. I mean, like I said, old adage was beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Same concept almost.
Well,
So
that may be true, but after 20 years, I've never had a single groupie. No one's ever come up to me and said, you are so adorable. That's probably, there's
neither have
probably
I.
a good
Neither
thing.
really have I. So even though I've got a partner slash wife, it's a whole different ballgame. We've fell in each other's with each other's heart. So There's an interesting concept that surprised me. I mean, y'all just released a covers album, and the choices of I mean the album was pretty much recorded what 10 years ago, but you remastered it, remixed it. What brought? I mean, there's time after time. There's all these covers, and it's like, who thought Grave Robber should be covering these songs? I mean, you did
Well,
Children of the Grave from Black Sabbath. That's a gimme. I get that one. But when you get the pop covers and love songs, you're like, huh?
well, a lot of it was kind of accidental. We started tracking some songs just for fun in the basement of our drummer, and some of the songs were just ridiculous, just to be silly, and we ended up giving them away for free. And the mixes weren't really all that great. We did it ourselves, and you know that just goes to show, when you want it done properly, you hire a professional. Well, we uh, years and years went by, and Thumper Punk Records wanted to release it, and I said, well, only if it had a proper mix. So we had Tim Bushong from Love War and the Channel Surfers remix it, and the choice of the songs was just it was very, very haphazard. We just kind of pick songs randomly. We all took turns picking songs, and sometimes it was, let's pick something that's absolutely ridiculous. Other times it was just a song that we liked, or whatever. And so it's a very eclectic group of songs. But overall, I'm very proud of that record. Not prideful, but proud of it. Proud of the job the other guys did, and it ended up being a decent record and a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember listening to it when they were released as free singles, and I'm like, this is cool but different. You always had, but you had back in the day, you had the Pop Ghost Punk, the all those compilations that record labels were pushing out in the early 2000s in the emo area, were what was classified popular punk bands were doing covers, and you're like, still, it was at that point even ridiculous on some of them. But when you all came up and did them, and it's like, okay, these are unique. These are something for the fans to dig. That if they really truly understood Grave Robber, they knew where these songs were coming from and how they were done at that, even at that point. And then, like you said, I mean, yeah, I get it. You go in and remaster it, you go make it sound a little cleaner, all that.
Yes, and that was really it. I mean, just a group of songs, and then we were asked to do a Misfits cover for a Misfits compilation, and a Metallica song for a Metallica compilation, and then we just added those tracks and filled the whole thing out, and that's pretty much all the covers that we've tracked thus far. Not every cover we've ever played. We played other things live, but
Right.
that's all the recordings for sure.
So, well, so going to live, where have you been your best experiences playing live? I know when I've seen you play at KCF, the crowd, you got that crowd that's don't know what to think, and then as you get the second or third song, they're sitting there going, whoa, whoa, all night long. But some of your memories of playing live over the last 20 years, where's been some of your favorites memories?
Well, Cornerstone was obviously you know kind of the one of the best experiences of playing live, but also going to Mexico. Mexican audiences are absolutely amazing, and we keep going back down because they're so good to us, and it's such
And that's on top
hospitable.
of a volcano, to say the least.
Yeah, and such hospitable people. Um, not only that, just receptive, and they get what we're doing. They understand it, and they sing along too. And that's the whoa parts are there so that anyone can sing along and jump right into the song without even knowing it. That's on purpose. I've said many times that all Grave Robber songs are is they're high velocity campfire songs. That's what they are. You can jump right in the first time you hear it, and it's by design.
Right? I mean, the times I've seen you, I've always had fun. You know, it's always been a pleasure being around you guys, knowing you guys. Even though the few, like you said, you've went through quite a few members, and each one of those members has been awesome. Can't speak down to any of those guys. And then, like I said, there's you that's the constant, and you've always supported me for years, and I truly appreciate that. You know, and then like that once I realized that you all were doing the 20 years thing, I was like, I got to get Wretched on. I got to get Wretched on, get his feelings, get his what his thoughts are after 20 years.
Well,
So
I'm very thankful that you've stuck by us. The thing about playing music is that people, as well as trends, change, and some people that were there in the beginning are no longer on board, or they've moved on to other interests. And I mean, musicians do the same thing. They move on to other interests, and I'm always thankful for the people that are there for the long haul. But I'm also thankful for the people that walk with us for whatever season they walk with us. So either way, and I'm just thankful that anyone listens at all, because the truth of the matter is I've never written a song to become popular, which should be very clear. We've never jumped on any musical bandwagon other than the fact that I think we're a complete ripoff of the Misfits. I wear that like a badge of honor. That's I don't deny that, and I love the Misfits and always will, and so but I'm slowly writing a new record, which is probably going to surprise some people because I think there's going to be some changes there. And we've always been, you know, what I consider to be punk rock with metal muscle, but I think on this next record we will likely be leaning more into the goth side. We're not going to lose what we already have. We're just going to add to it.
add a layer to it.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically it. Add some ethereal elements and maybe some, you know, more medium paced songs. I don't know if we'll ever do a slow song. The closest thing to that we've done was when we did the Dry Bones album, which was
Yeah.
acoustic versions, and we slowed them way down.
Yeah.
Which
So,
I love that record for what it is.
right. And I was pleasantly surprised with that album. And then you had some tribute artists on there. Well, that was cool. Hearing other people do your music. So, talking
It's
about
fun.
your writing, what if you had to name three Grave Robber songs that everybody needs to listen to? What would they be?
Wow. Um, well, I think that my answer could change moment to moment, but right now, right here, right now, I think that Army of the Dead, because that's really a song about letting people know that they are important, that their lives matter, and that's what the song means to me. It's a song of hope, a song that is calling people to walk away from their pride and their ego and walk away from death and submit to the reanimator and just know that they have a home and a place where the miscreants and the misfits and the weirdos can be real about who they are. So
And they're not alone. That's what I get from that song. Is that you're not alone out there.
yes, That's what Army of the Dead truly is about. So that one. Second one would be a tie between two songs on the first record. Burn Witch Burn, which is a song about witch hunting. It's about looking for the evil in each other rather than looking for the good in each other, looking for common ground with each other. So that song is about looking for the bad, and I think live in a culture where toxicity in our culture is running rampant. And I wrote that over 20 years ago, but it still holds true today. That song would be tied with Skeletons, which is about how our thoughts, like our minds, we think things that we don't want to let out, and it's a good thing that we don't let out every thought. We're supposed to take every thought into captivity and control your thoughts, be in control of your thoughts. But it's also a song that basically says, hey, we all have the propensity for evil in our minds. So that would be number two, would be a tie. Number three would be The Evil Dead, which is a song about someone contemplating suicide. And suicide is so rampant, and it's so sad when young people think that it's not going to get better. It's never going to get better, and I'm living with pain and I'm suffering. And I hate to see people going through any kind of pain or suffering, and so that's what that song is about. And it's a hopefully someone listens to that and it shakes them, and they change their mind about actions that they are contemplating.
Well, guess what? You had my number one and number two right there together. Army of the Dead and Skeletons, my two favorite songs. That's why I've got them both recorded and live on my YouTube channel, because it's just. And then when you speak during Army of the Dead, talking about those things and telling us we're not alone. I mean, that's people don't realize you're not alone. There are people going through the same things you go through. Yeah, we go through it.
I, I even believe that the Reanimator dealt with every single type of struggle, every type of thing that we go through. Every experiencing hunger, experiencing friends walking away, experiencing people not accepting him for who he is, and I think I just think that he understands.
That's
I
why he
think
was in the human form.
yeah, I think most people understand, but but when you're in that position, you think you're all alone, but hey, you're not. Just talk to your buddy Wretched.
Yeah, yep. I've done that. I've reached out to Wretched many times for prayer and thought, and just to listen for a moment. And he's always been there for me. So don't think he won't listen to you, because he
I will.
will.
We get people messaging us all the time asking for prayer or guidance, and we're not we're not super spiritual beings. We're just five reanimated corpses that love God and love people, and we'd love to help you out in any way we can. But we're not specialists. We don't claim to have answers that no one else has, but we do care about our audience. We do care about people, and we're always willing to be there.
Yeah, and like I said, I appreciate that. Like I said, that's one of the many reasons I forward to having you on at some point once I got this rolling. We discussed this a few years back, and we do have a Jason Collins says, "Hello, Wretched."
Jason Collins is one of my favorite humans. He's a dear friend of Grave Robber, and love to hang out with him any chance that we get. Him and his lovely bride come out, and they generally wear our T-shirts, and they generally buy a new one when they come out. So, hello, Jason. Thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it too. Well, I got my one of my many grave robber shirts on this evening. So, let's see. What we've talked about favorite songs. We've talked about live. We've talked about a little bit about what the thoughts of others looking at you are. Where do
I
you see
was.
grave robber? Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say. So we're at 20 years. I was going to say, in 5 years we have a quarter century. Where do you still see grave robber doing what you got, what you do? You say you're working on a new album. You think you'll be pushing it at 25 years?
I don't know. I really can't answer that because I didn't think we would hit 20 years. And I know everyone says that when they hit a milestone, but I really did not think this would happen. So I can't really answer that. All I can say is when it's done, it's done. And when the time comes and when it's obvious that it's over, then it's just over. And that's really hard for me to think about right now in the midst of, Ozzy passing away, and Ozzy and Black Sabbath being musical influences on Grave Robber, and that was a hard day to lose someone who was so iconic. Um, I don't think obviously we're not. I wouldn't call Grave Robber iconic. I wouldn't. I mean, I barely think that we've had any success at all, but maybe a different kind of success, not monetary, but maybe we've been successful in other areas. But one thing I'll say is that when it's time to be over, it's time to be over. That could be
Yeah. I mean,
20, 20,
I know.
2026, that could be 2028, that could be 2045. I don't know. It's really hard for us to judge at this point.
Yeah. And I remember something going through those 20 years with you, seeing various times where you've noted that this could be the end in 2012, 2014, and so on. There were times where it seemed like you were ready to hang it up because you didn't know if there'd be any more.
Yeah,
When you were going through losing drummers or losing a guitar player or bass player here or there, it's like, and then you're trying to find one and you can't. You know, there's not many to run around.
well, and the thing is that when you lose a band member and try to replace them, and you can't replace them, and you go for 3 years. At one point, we couldn't find a drummer for 3 years, and we had guys who would fill in, but not a permanent member, not someone who's invested in the band, or someone who really wants to be there, or, somebody who's just helping us because they're a friend. And it starts to wear on you. Like, do you think, well, there's no one out there who has any remote interest in what we're doing? So yeah, you start thinking it's time to pack it in. And if that was time to pack it in, I would have been okay with it. I'm okay if the band stops tonight. I'm also okay if the band goes for another 20 years. Yeah, I'm open to whatever plan is laid out in front of me.
Right. Right. That's the important thing. And I mean, that's like, I mean, as simple as I've been ready to give up many times doing what I'm doing tonight. Because, like I said, the last 2 years since the last time we saw each other, this has been the hardest 2 years probably I've been dealt with continually. And there are days where I was like, is this my calling? Is this what I need to be doing?
Yeah,
But it's all coming together like in his time, and I had to remember that.
By the way, I don't want to take over your show, but I noticed there's 4 people watching. If those 4 people watching have any questions for me, by all means, type them in the
Agreed.
comments, and I'll answer anything.
Right. I
And,
totally agree with that.
and usually when I say that, the first question is boxers or briefs. Fine, I'll answer that even. But if you have a question for me, by all means, ask the question, type it in, and let's go.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Type it in. We'll have him answer. That's the whole point. Well, now we're showing five. So come on, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to
Yes.
answer those questions that have been burning in your britches.
If you have any questions for me, those of you that are watching, just ask and I'll answer. No problem. So, you asked the question earlier about you started to about the new record that we're working on. So far we have two songs written for that record, so we're a ways off from it. But we're also currently working right now on a compendium of everything Grave Robber has ever done on one collection called Corpus Operum, which means body of work, and
Right.
that will be coming out shortly. So we're a little behind schedule, and I got a little ambitious, so it's going to take a little longer than what we really anticipated. But Corpus Operum is it's on its way.
I actually asked for that for my birthday. So, which
Nice.
if I'm not mistaken, we share the same birthday in August. So,
Yeah, how about that? That's nice. But that was supposed to be the release date. I don't think we're going to make it, but I'll keep everybody posted, I'm sure.
all right. No questions yet. Where y'all at, people? If you're watching.
We even have a sixth person watching. So, number six, if you have any questions for me, just type them in the comments and I'll answer anything. I've had crazy questions before, so believe me, nothing will bother me. I may not answer anything too personal, but go ahead and ask. Nothing yet.
Sorry, I had to skip away for a second.
That's okay.
Let's see. Nope. Nope. We're going up in between five and six. So, but anyways, so let's see what I can come up with. Then, since everybody else is nervous and doesn't want to talk tonight. So you've went through 20 years. You've only had one music video, if I'm not mistaken, for Altered States.
Yes.
Correct. That's been that's been ever been 15. Correct.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
What was the reason by not doing it anymore? Just money and time,
Fi-
money.
Financial. Yeah. Financial. It's the cost of doing a music video is crazy. But I really want to do another one when the next full length comes out. I really want to do another video. We have I did a what I call a visualizer for time after time, but it's not a true music video.
Right. Well, we finally got some questions. We finally
Great.
got a couple. We got Brittany Collins that is asking, "Will you be guys playing at Pierre's again soon?"
I hope so. I did reach out to them and try to get a booking, and I have not heard anything back just yet, but I'm hoping that happens very soon.
Okay. And then Sam Montgomery is the hot sauce just hot, or does it also have a good flavor profile?
That's a great question. So here's my take on it. Hot sauce for heat's sake is worthless. I want flavor, but I also want my face to be sweaty. So, yes, it has flavor and heat. For me personally, I love ghost pepper, and it is as hot as I'm comfortable with, but the flavor is incredible. The company that we're working with made this ghost sauce with lemon and lime, so you got this nice citrusy flavor at the tail end of it. So yes, it is extremely flavorful. It's arguably one of the best hot sauces I have ever had, and that's why we put our name on it.
Hmm. I know I should have got some last time I saw you. And I love hot sauce. Next one is back again from Sam. He wanted to know about he needs larger than 2X shirts.
Absolutely. We sell shirts on anchormerchandising.com, and those go up to 5X. We can
Ooh.
absolutely do that of every design we have ever had. I
Nice.
I recognized early on that Grave Robber, well, I don't like to say fans, I say friends, that the army of the dead, the Grave Robber friends, come in all shapes and sizes. And I thought it was really wrong that I only saw bands carry XL as their biggest size, or maybe a 2X, once in a blue moon a 3X. I've met some people that like my band who were 5X and they couldn't get a t shirt. I thought that was wrong. So I made that available. Now, we don't always carry 5X when we play live, but we always carry a QR code on our table. And if somebody wants to get a 5X t shirt, they can get it right there on our table, or they can go to anchormerchandising.com, search for Grave Robber, and get every design we have ever made in a 5X t shirt, up to 5X.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I've looked through Anchor a few different times. They do have quite a bit of collection, and you don't just have shirts for Gary Barber as well.
Yes,
So, I mean, I've seen what coffee mugs. And you just had a mask that was created. That was cool.
yes, yeah, those are sold out.
They did
But
some. That's awesome.
yes, yep, every single one of them, and we're really excited about those, and we should have those in our skeletal hands very shortly.
All right. Any other questions out there? You don't see Wretched online answering questions that often, so come on, come on.
I should do it more often.
Well, remember you're out at night, and a lot of people are still asleep.
I know.
Mhm.
I'm usually busy creeping around doing creepy guy things at night.
All right,
I
all
guess I
right.
should be careful
There's
saying that in 2025.
right, and then see, looks like Brittany's back with another question about the mask. Are there going to be any more made?
At this point, no. Nope, they sold out and that's it. We do have something coming later in the year that I think is going to be extremely awesome and make a lot of people very happy, but I can't reveal what that is just yet. But it is in the same vein.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, the last couple of years you've had a lot of special items that being created just free for just small amounts that I've seen that were pretty awesome. So that would be something to look forward to then, and not knowing it makes it exciting. So, and I know going back, and I know we were talking about Pierre's and such earlier. You know, you are do have a tour that you're booking currently for October along the East Coast.
Yes,
How's that going?
slowly. I wish it were going better, but slowly. I think we waited a little too long, but hopefully it comes together quickly
Yeah, so I know that's your all's favorite time to tour is the Halloween season.
for sure. Yeah, it makes the most sense.
Well, I've reached out to a few people here in the Louisville metro area to see if we can get you down this way back again.
Sure,
Hopefully, we'll have a bigger crowd than the last time you were here.
for sure.
And a handful of others, unfortunately, but it was a stop on the way back from I think the Lexington HorrorCon down there.
Right, exactly.
So me and my family are talking about going down to that Lexington con this year and checking it out. We just haven't decided yet. We do like our horror movies around here. Before I got on, he was watching the Stephen King miniseries. So,
Mm.
well, let's see. Any other last minute questions before we end this evening? Now, Sam said the same thing. Maybe we can get you to the little area. Same
I,
thing.
I would love to play in Louisville. It's been a long, long time since we've been there. And I know that Louisville has a really large goth scene. And
Yeah.
so it would be great to be able to tap into that and have some people come out from there too.
Right. Well, like I said, I've spread the word out. So let's hopefully somebody will contact you. I've sent them your contact information.
That would be great.
So I try to help out my fiends here that I know.
Well, we appreciate you, Mike.
I appreciate you all for the years of support as well. Well, as we close up this evening, I'll let you give a final greeting and tell us where we can find Grave Robber.
Well, you can find us everywhere, literally. In fact, I just posted the other day a link tree, and I'll post it here when we're done, of every place that you can find us on social media, uh, pretty much everywhere. I know that sounds like a cop out answer, but we've over the course of time, you tend to kind of jump on everything. So I'll post that here. And again, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on your show, Mike.
I appreciate you, like I said. Any last thoughts that you want to tell the fans?
I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that we've been able to keep going for 20 years. I'm thankful that our fans are still listening. Like I said, I mean, there are some measures of success that are very tangible. Ours isn't quite as tangible. However, we have not we have not ever considered ourselves unsuccessful because of the people that have stayed around, and those friendships mean so much more to us than dollars. And so we just can't even begin to express how thankful we are that all of you are still here.
Right. Well, thank you, Wretched. I appreciate your time this evening. Hope to do it and see you again soon. I want to tell everyone you can find Radio Oz on Facebook, where you're seeing them now. Also on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify. You will find a couple of live videos on the YouTube page from Wretched and Grave Robber from a few years ago. Because it has been a few years since I have been able to see them live due to, like I said, a lot of life happening. Hope to see everyone soon. Everybody take care. God bless. And rock on. Thanks, Wretched.
Thank you.